Hi, everyone. My name is Katie McFarland. I'm one of the product managers here at CrossNoK, and my role here is to deliver the best user experience for everyone that uses Atlas. And today, as part of that mission, we're going to be covering the brand new feature that is launching March 17th, the Equipment Browser Bulk Settings Editor. So this update, this new feature is important because today, the experience to make a lot of updates or edits to equipment settings is it could be repetitive and tedious, where you're opening the same equipment details screen over and over again. Could be copy and pasting the same setting, same edit. And we really wanted to accelerate that process and accelerate your workflows while using Atlas. So when this feature is released on March 17th, you're going to have a new way to edit your settings. So even if you're a viewer, you'll be able to see all of your settings at once for a single type of equipment. So in other words, you'll be able to view all your settings for evaporators on one screen instead of having to open each individual equipment detail screen to stitch together that picture. But if you want to edit your settings, you have two options available to you, particularly for admins. First option is what we're calling single edit, where you can individually edit settings for each specific piece of equipment. And for this editing method, you can enter a different value. It's really a choose your own adventure for that. But then the big time saver is the bulk editing feature, where you're able to apply the same settings change to multiple pieces of equipment at the same time. And it is a very, very huge time saver. And then as part of additional safety checks, we have implemented preview screens and reviews before you save any changes, so that you always have the opportunity to review these bulk edits and bulk changes before applying them to your system. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ryan Wiggins, our implementation engineer and training extraordinaire.
Hey, everyone. Just give me a second. Let's pull up Atlas. There we go. Awesome. So as Katie mentioned, my name is Ryan Wiggins. I'm an implementation engineer with CrossNoK. Some of you may have seen me before. I'm actually one of the individuals that goes out to your site and actually installs the software and makes sure she runs smoothly like she's supposed to. So to get things going, to access the bulk editor, as Katie mentioned, evaporators, we're going to take a look at our evaporators. So if you go here at the top right of the equipment tab, you're going to see this edit settings button. We're going to click on that edit settings button, and you're going to see this table. This table here is going to show all the equipment in the evaporators tab and all the settings associated with it. So as you can see here, if you were a viewer, and if you're curious about what permissions you have, if this left pane is collapsed, you can click on our logo, expand it, and you can look to where your name is at. And from here, you can see which permissions you have: admin, supervisor, operator, viewer, etc. Close that back up. So if you have only view access, you're only going to be able to view the information here. But the information being presented is identical to what's being displayed on the card currently. So you can see here, you can go through, look at all your temperature set points, dead bands, defrost settings, the whole gamut. And you can scroll left to right using the little scroll bar at the bottom to see all the settings that are available to you. Now, let's say you wanted to adjust a couple of settings on different pieces of equipment. Let's say we wanted to change the temperature set point for AU5. To do that, you're going to click on temperature set point, and your cursor is going to start blinking. We're going to remove -3, and we're going to change it to -5. The moment you change it to -5 and then click off the screen, you're going to notice a yellow box around the setting that we just changed. If you're curious about what the value was previously, you can hover over the yellow box, and there's going to be a little pop-up that displays that is going to show you what the value was before you changed it in gray, and the value that you are currently changing it to in yellow. So as you see, we successfully changed it to -5. And I'm going to go through and just change some other set points here just to expose some of the other features here. So I've made some single edit changes to various pieces of equipment. If you look down here on the bottom left, you can see it will give you a total number of cells that have unsaved changes. So right now we currently have 5, but it could be all the settings that are currently being displayed here, or it could be 1. If for some reason you're seeing a number here that doesn't match what's being displayed on the screen here, you may have to scroll over to other settings to see settings that have been changed. So you see here, I changed 6 for the non-overlap delay to 6 minutes. We have 6 cells, but if I scroll all the way over here to the left, only 5 are being displayed. So if you see a number different than what's being on the screen, you may have to scroll over to see all the settings that you've changed. Next, we have this preview changes function here at the bottom. So if we click on that, this will give you all the preview, or this will give you a preview of all the changes that you've made. You may notice one thing, this setting here, this temperature set point, it actually says temperature set. If you grab this little window pane in the middle, you can actually expand this pane here so you can actually read the setting name in its entirety. You'll also notice here at the top, we have this group by equipment or group by setting. Currently, we are in the equipment. So it is grouping all of the setting changes by equipment. So it's based off of the evaporator. We have another option. We have it grouped by setting. So now you'll see that it's grouped by the setting name instead of the equipment. So here we changed the defrost interval for evaporator 8 and 10. And we also changed temperature set point for 5 and 10. So it's grouping it based off of setting and not the equipment. If for some reason you're like, oh man, I didn't want to change the non-overlap delay for evaporator 9, we do have this little trash can feature here. So if you were to click on it, it is actually going to remove that edit entirely. So when we go back to the screen and we scroll back over to our non-overlap for evaporator 9, you'll see that that value went back to whatever that value was before we made the change. Now, if you're ready to actually submit these changes, you can go to review and save changes. And again, you're going to get another confirmation window to review before you save your changes. And again, we can group it by equipment or by setting by navigating these 2 little toggles here. So we can go by settings or by equipment. And again, if you notice that you made a mistake, and I was like, oh, I didn't want to change the temperature set point for evaporator 10, we have this little trash can button again, so we can actually click on it to remove that from our save. Once we're satisfied with what we have modified and we're ready to save, we just hit this save for changes, and you'll see that it's begin to queue. And you'll get these little check marks that let you know when the setting has been changed and when it's been confirmed changed. So now all these settings have been confirmed. I'm going to close this window out, and we can go back and see that we've had our various changes saved and implemented. The next feature I'm going to show is the actual bulk editing feature. As Katie said, if you have admin privileges, you'll be able to use this feature. You'll notice right now this bulk edit button is grayed out. To get this to where it can be selected, you're going to notice these little boxes beside the evaporators. Once you click on these evaporators, they're going to a little check mark to tell you, hey, you have selected this piece of equipment for the bulk edit. So I'm just going to randomly select a few evaporators, and you'll notice that this bulk edit button changes colors and it's now clickable. We're going to click on that bulk edit. I'm going to expand this little window open a little bit. And you'll first notice there are no settings to be modified right now. We actually have to select which settings we want to change. To do that, you're going to see this select columns drop down menu here at the top right of this little pop-up window. We're going to click on it And then you're going to be able to see all of the settings that you can adjust. So this is going to be all the settings that you saw in the table previously. So for these particular evaporators, I'm going to change some temperature set points and some defrost settings. Let me change one at the end of the list. We're going to do non-overlap. So you see here now we have settings that can be modified. When I click on the setting I want to change, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the table actually shifted over a little bit. This is to actually bring whatever current set point you're about to adjust into focus. So we are modifying the temperature set point, and you'll notice here in the table there is a white box around the settings that we are going to modify. That way you can actually see what the values are before you change them. So we're going to change those to -2. I'm going to skip down the list. I'm going to go to the non-overlap delay so we can actually see this table transition in real time. So I'm going to click on this non-overlap delay, and you'll see that the table shifted over to bring the non-overlap delay setting into focus. From here, I'm going to change that setting. We're going to go back to the liquid feed runtime. We're going to change it to, we'll say 15 minutes. Oh, sorry, 24 hours. And I don't know if you guys noticed, when I changed the settings for the liquid feed runtime to 24 hours, there's only 2 yellow boxes here. That is because for evaporator 7 and 9, that setting was already set to 24 hours. So it's only going to highlight boxes that actually the value has changed. And as we highlight over the boxes, you can see it was previously 28, it's now 24. We're going to go to soft gas duration, change it to 5. And then our drip bleed fan duration, we're going to change that to 0. And again, there was already 2 settings that were at 0, so they're not going to, the little yellow box isn't going to go around them. So now that I'm satisfied with the changes that I've made, I'm going to hit apply changes. And from here, I can go back to my preview changes, and I can see which changes I made per equipment or per setting, you know, determine like, oh, all that looks good. No, I actually didn't want to include the defrost interval time for evaporator 11. So again, you can hit the little trash can and it's going to remove that setting. And we saw the value change back to its previous value. Then we're good to go. Now let's say, okay, you're done with a bulk edit and you're like, oh, I need to change the temperature deadband for evaporator 12. You can still make single edit changes even after a bulk edit. So we'll go here, change this deadband to 1, and we're good to go. Now we're ready to save our changes. And we can go review. And you'll notice here, we have this sync conflict detected. What this means is that in the processes of making changes to these settings, somebody has made changes in the process of us making changes. So Atlas is going to give you a notification that says, hey, you know, this value changed while you were also making your edit. Would you like to keep the current live value, or do you want to go to your edit? So here I want to say, well, somebody made a change. I don't know who it is. I'm going to keep the live value and hit continue. If for any reason you see that live sync window pop up, that's a good indication that there are other people making changes to the settings. So you may want to reach out to each other at the site just to make sure you guys aren't stepping on each other's toes. That way you're not making changes, they're making changes, and you're fighting each other. So now we're ready to go. You know, we're want to review our changes. We can go by setting, by equipment. We're satisfied with it. We're ready to save these 15 changes. I can go saving. Well, let's say, oh man, I messed up. I didn't actually want to do all these changes. You can actually cancel any queued up evaporators, and you can tell they're queued up. I think I was too short. I don't think I was quick enough. All 15 changes were successful. So if there's any little, these little circles, you'll see them change state. If they're a dotted line, they're queued up. If they're like a little circle and it's spinning, they are already in the queue waiting to be processed. And then once there's a little check mark, that means the process has gone through and it's been confirmed. But if for some reason you had 100 setting changes and it was in the process of confirming all those changes and you had any queued up, you could cancel the queue of any that remained in the queue so they wouldn't get saved. But that's pretty much it for the bulk edit.
Well, and then any that you cancel that were part of the queue, they would return to the staging environment here so you could continue to edit them as well.
So the little yellow box would still be there? Yes. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Now, there's one other place that we can utilize, or two other places we can utilize as a bulk editor. This bulk editing feature is not limited to just evaporators. It is for any piece of equipment that has settings. So here, once it loads up, we can go down here, and I'm just picking on vessels. But like I said, it could be anything that has settings, or pretty much anything in this equipment browser. So we'll go here and we're going to go to edit settings for our vessels. So you'll notice here that we have settings for economizer 1 and the low temp recirculator 1, but we have these dashes for the LTU and the HPR. If you ever see dashes, that just means that there is no mode setting in this case for those two vessels. There's only mode settings for the economizer and the LTR. So if you ever see dashes, don't fret. It just means that there is no setting for that particular setting for that piece of equipment. It's about full. But if for some reason you get to a piece of equipment that does not have any settings, so if we go here to the penthouse and we go to edit settings, if there are no settings to be modified and you click on this edit settings button, it'll just say there are no settings available to edit. Lastly, the other place where you can modify settings is through our system view. And there's two ways to access your system view. You can access the system view on the left pane under system, or in the equipment browser, you can click this group where it says system, click on it. And here we can bulk edit settings based off of what are in these equipment tabs. So most of your facilities, we have broken the evaporators out based off of room. So let's say if you had a convertible room and that was room 2, and room 2 is being displayed in the system view list, you could click on room 2, go to this edit setting, and it's going to display just the evaporators that are in that little room 2 column. So you can make your temperature, set point, changes, your deadband changes, modify your defrost schedule and defrost timers as needed for your new production change for that convertible room. But that's pretty much it for the bulk edit. Did I miss anything, Gabby?
I don't think so, Ryan, but question for you, what are you most excited to use this feature for?
Oh, man. So I am most excited since as I mentioned earlier, I'm involved in the UAT process. So I actually have to go out and transfer all of the set points from whatever legacy system you are currently using and get those set points thrown in to Atlas. Before the bulk edit, I was having the same long, tiresome process of having to go through each individual card, input settings, the whole gambit. Now I can go into all equipment, go to my evaporators here, and then I can see all of my settings for all of my evaporators. So not only can I speed up my work of inputting set points, but it also allows me to double check, do my triple checks to make sure everything I transferred over, I didn't accidentally input the wrong value for a setting. So I am most excited about actually speeding up my data entry when it comes to UATs.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And one other thing I did want to mention, if you go back to the system group, for any section of equipment where you see that it's not, the section doesn't contain all pieces of equipment of that type. Like, for example, you have an evaporator section that only has 3 of your 40 evaporators. When you click on edit settings, you'll be prompted to select whether you want to edit just what's visible in this section, or if you want to edit all of them, all of the evaporators. So be on the lookout for that. We're trying to make this as customizable for your individual use as possible. And if you have any questions for how to use this feature, Ryan, where do you recommend everyone go?
I recommend everyone go expand this left pane here, go to your support, and go to the help center. This product is being released on March 17th, next Tuesday. At the same time, they are going to release videos, FAQs that you can use in the help center. So when you pull up the help center, there's going to be this big search bar in the middle. You can go in there and type in bulk editor, and it's going to bring up everything associated with the bulk editor. So if you have any questions, need any reference material, I would suggest going to the help center, searching up bulk editor, and you'll be able to find videos, FAQs on how to use this new feature that's coming out.
Awesome. Well, and there is one thing that I wanted to mention, that new save design where you can see the saves, the changes that you're saving actively queuing up and applying to the system. This is something that isn't going to be available only in the bulk editor. We're also going to implement this for the equipment detail screens and the sequencer detail screens so that it's consistent for saving multiple edits at once. So that'll be rolling out at the same time that the bulk settings editor is as well. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.